Welcome to today's practice, everyone. Can you believe we're on day 29 of our year of yoga as we bring our hands to prayer position at our heart space, setting an intention for today. Today's practice, even though it's only a short one, we're going to be holding the poses a little bit longer today. So crossing the left leg over the right leg, big deep breath in, forward folding over the top knee. Maybe resting your chin on the knee, hugging the knees in. Feet are relaxed out to each side. We're going to roll through 10 rounds of breath here. And in fact, we're going to roll through 10 rounds of breath in every pose. So in your own time, in your own flow, breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. Slowly placing the hands back on the mat, unraveling the legs, changing over to the other side. Left leg is on the bottom, right leg is folded over the top. Taking a deep breath in and exhaling as we forward fold over our knees. Just gently resting your chin on the top knee and going through your 10 rounds of breath. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. The idea of taking these longer rounds is to really help you connect with your breath. Taking the right leg long now, we're going to bend the left knee up towards the chest, hugging it in towards our upper body. Taking our gaze over our left shoulder, out to the side. Feeling a stretch through the glute muscles here. And again, just in your own time, rolling through 10 rounds of breath. And then unraveling that leg, taking the left leg long, hugging in the right knee towards the body. Taking our gaze over to the right. Sitting tall in this pose. Just coming onto our all fours. Getting into position for 10 rounds of cat-cow. Inhaling, taking the head back, dropping the body towards the floor, and then exhaling into cat, taking the back high. Inhaling into cow, exhaling into cat. Making sure the elbows and the wrists are under the shoulders, knees are under the hips, feet are flat. This is creating fluidity through the spine. This is a great pose for those of us who don't have a lot of movement in our lower body between our lower back and our sacrum. Coming back to neutral spine, we're going to take the left leg long, right arm long, looking for elongation from the fingertips to the toes. 10 rounds of breath. Squeezing the glute as well, really engaging the core muscles, the bottom, the thigh, the arms, the feet. Coming back to neutral and then changing over to the other side. Left arm goes long, right leg goes long. 10 rounds of breath. You can see my back leg, my right leg is a little bit too high here. It should have been lower and more parallel to the ground as we're looking for elongation, not elevation. Taking the knees wide, we're going to pass our arms through and under our body. Just resting our right or left cheek onto the mat. Coming into child's pose. And rounds of breath. If you find you can't quite make it to the heels, you can pop a cushion between your bottom and your feet. And slowly rolling the body back up, back into neutral spine. And then walking the hands forward and sinking our forehead down onto the mat. Pushing our chest towards our knees. 10 rounds of breath here. Should be feeling a stretch in the arms, the shoulders, the thoracic part of the spine. A 90-degree angle from the hips to the knees to the feet. And slowly coming up, we're going to put a twist in. So taking the right arm under the left side of the body. 10 rounds of breath. Bringing the right cheek to the mat. Left arm is still stretched out long. Slowly coming up and then taking the left arm under the right side of the body. Right arm is long, left cheek is on the mat. Hips are high. 10 rounds of breath. Breathing into the side that's being stretched. Expanding the rib cage. These twisted poses are very, very good for digestion. Slowly coming up, walking the hands back towards the knees, bending the left leg up and under the body, taking the right leg long, untucking the toes, and then breathing in, taking the arms up overhead as we sit tall in this position. 10 rounds of breath. Maybe putting a little back bend in, taking the hands towards the back of the mat. You should feel a little stretch in the lower back of the body. Tucking the toes, bringing the knees back to meet each other, and then bending the right leg up and under the body, taking the left leg long, untucking the toes, letting the foot fall flat, taking the arms up above the head. Fingertips are spread wide. Really sinking the hips towards the mat. Feeling that stretch between the lumbar and the sacrum. Connecting to breath. And then bringing both knees back to neutral position. Sitting down on our heels. Taking a moment to check in here. Tucking the toes and then bringing the sit bones down to the top of the heels. You can leave the feet like this as we roll through 10 rounds. Just creating some heat in our thighs. Or you can put the feet flat just to make it a little bit more challenging. If you have any knee problems, you might just want to sit in the kneeling position. Placing the hands on the mat now. Taking the right foot between the hands. Coming into low lunge. Arms are straight up in the air, fingertips spread wide. Maybe bending backwards a little bit to get a bit of a back bend and more of a stretch in the hip flexor here. When you've done your 10 rounds of breath, I'm going to place the right hand to the mat. Left arm goes long, taking our gaze past our fingertips. Getting a slight twist in the upper body. And feeling a stretch through the top of the legs. Again, we're doing 10 rounds of breath. And then bringing the left hand back to frame the foot. Bringing the right foot in between the hands now. Raising our arms up overhead. Sinking the hips forward as we lean into that front right leg. Maybe adding a bit of a back bend if that feels good. Staying connected to breath. And then planting the left hand onto the mat. Right arm goes long. Gazing past our fingertips. Making sure the left wrist is under the left shoulder. And then when you've done your 10 rounds of breath, bringing both hands back to the mat. Coming onto our right side, right elbow under the right shoulder, knees are together and folded with the feet behind you, lifting the hips high towards the sky. Left arm goes long up towards the sky, fingertips are spread wide. Squeeze in the glutes. Maybe taking the Left arm overhead long. 10 rounds of breath. And then taking the left leg long. So we have this beautiful line from our left fingertips all the way down to our left toes. Keeping the hips high. Continuing to breathe. And then bringing the hand back to the hip, knees together, lowering down and changing over to the other side. Left elbow under the left shoulder, knees are together and bent, raising our hips towards the sky. Right arm goes long, high, up towards the sky. Or you can take it overhead. Staying strong through the core, the upper body here, maintaining integrity as we take that right leg long now. Looking for elongation here. Squeezing the glutes, lifting the hips. Feeling a beautiful stretch through the side of the body. And then bringing the knees back together. Coming into seated position before slowly lowering our body down to lying pose. Maybe tucking the knees in towards the chest and then taking the legs long for our final resting pose. Getting rid of any last minute fidgets. Letting the feet fall heavy to the sides. Resting our toes, balls of our feet, soles of our feet, our ankles. Just really having a lot of gratitude for our feet, everything they allow us to do throughout our day, the weight that they bear on a daily basis. It's incredible the amount of work that they do for us. Relaxing the ankles, the calves, the shins, the knees, the thighs and the hamstrings, glutes and the hips, our reproductive system, just letting it all relax. And again, coming from gratitude for everything that goes on within our body that allows us to move with grace throughout our day, getting from one place to another, and relaxing the abdominals, the lower back, the chest, the shoulders, the arms, the hands and the fingers. Feeling gratitude for all our vital organs that are within this space, that allow us to function in our everyday life. Our beautiful heart that beats 64,000 beats a minute. Relaxing our neck, and our jaw, relaxing our forehead, our skull, and coming from gratitude for what's within our skull, our beautiful brain that helps provide the thoughts and the intellect that allows us to be who we want. It allows us to create, to see, to experience this human experience and all it has to offer. Bringing some movement now back into the body, maybe stretching the legs, the toes, the hands, the wrists. And then when you're ready, rolling over to one side. Just taking a moment there before pushing yourself up into a seated position. Crossing the legs, sitting tall, hands gently resting on the knees. And bringing hands to prayer position at our third eye. May we have kind and loving thoughts today, lowering them to our lips. May we speak kind and loving words today. As we lower them to our heart center, may we have kind and loving intentions today. Namaste.